Welcome back, 1033. We've all seen the building, Sam and Delilah's, but now a name change, kind of?
Definitely. Sam and Delilah's was opened in March of 2017, and the branding has always been a softer side of sexual wellness. And we're going to continue that branding, but with our corporate name, which is just ROMANTIX. Our company has been in business for over 40 years, and they're rapidly growing. So we want to be a part of that growth. Out of 73 locations, there was only 3 named Sam and Delilah's. So it only made sense for name recognition and advertising to just go ahead and change that name to something that we all would maybe, know a little bit better.
Yeah, so how did you come into the fold of Sam and Delilah when the name was still Sam and Delilah in 2017?
Well, so actually, I was with the company. I've been in this building since 2014 when it was Johnny Vegas.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, getting it now.
Yep. I actually tell jokes that I came with the building. Well, she was 1920 was when that building was built.
Really?
So we're still part of the historic route. And,
yeah.
And we take pride in taking care of her. So
I saw the sign. It looked good, by the way.
Yeah, we're excited about it, especially at night.
Yeah.
It looks really, really good down the road. But yeah, whenever the old tenants moved out, the building's rented. When the old tenants moved out, ROMANTIX moved in, remodeled the building, brought her up to speed because it was falling down, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they just kind of got us where we need to be in terms of just a lot better, more beautiful,
Well, and the thing is, too, Nikki, I think it's very, because when I left the radio show or the radio station, say, don't talk about abortion, politics, guns, or sex, I talk about it all because I feel like it's all about how you talk about things, and it could prevent a lot of issues further down the road for so many people if you talk about, sexual wellness and just different options that are available out there. So at ROMANTIX, what really sets the tone for you guys compared to maybe some other of these type of stores in the industry?
Yeah, so actually one of my favorite parts about this company itself is they do a continuing education training for us. And what that means is that we meet with vendors several times a year, everyone in the company does, and we learn about our products from the people that create them. They teach us about product knowledge, and then we're able to take that knowledge into stores and teach our guests. So when I hear from our customers, like, this isn't, like online shopping, or this isn't like shopping at another location that's like this, that's what sets us apart, I believe. Understanding what a person needs in that situation where there might be some tension because they're not used to talking about these things. It just helps ease the situation for everyone involved.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you about, and that was kind of my overarching point and how we'll wrap up the interview with what your event is. But, so many people are so, bashful, and they have the red face, and they have all these things. When they go into to ROMANTIX, how important is it for them to know that you're just there to help? There's no one, writing down on AMZ, such and such is here doing this. How important is that?
It's very important. Actually, it's so important that our company requires us to sign NDAs.
Really?
So if you came to my store, for example, and we sold you something, I'm legally bound. I can't even talk about that outside of that because we want the customer to know that this is a sacred space that you can feel free and comfortable to talk about whatever you need to without feelings of shame or taboo, or that maybe I know that person and they're going to talk about it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of our main concerns. The way that they created our store in that remodel was to make everyone that enters feel comfortable talking about sexual wellness. Everything from the lighting to the music to just the way the product is in general. So our mission there is to educate our guests in a way that makes them feel most natural, talking about most sensitive, aspects of their lives with a stranger typically.
Right.
We do have regulars that come in and they get really comfortable with individuals there, and so that makes it a lot easier to form those bonds and just kind of get that to continue to grow over time.
Well, and now whenever we're talking about ROMANTIX, what are some of the, in your opinion, and honestly, ROMANTIX opinion, some of your best services? What are some of the best selections that you guys have that you could fill us in on?
So for do you mean product in general?
Yeah.
For the last 4 years, the most number one toy, and I get shocked that it's still the number one toy is the rose. It's a product for women mostly, and it's just anyone that's listening right now probably has heard of it. That has a vulva owner.
Okay, I am just going to throw this out. I know what you're talking about only because I saw someone post a picture of one from Goodwill that was marked for $2 that was slightly used, and I have never laughed harder in my damn life. So that's seriously, though, one of the most sought after?
It's one of the most sought after things for 4 years running. and I just... we're just still doing it. And it's great. There's different variations and different forms. And when they come in and say someone's never had one before, it's really a shift for them to experience this, because it's not something that, is going to... It's not something that's going to be like an eye shocker. Like, there's some things in our building that are like, oh my goodness, this is, it looks like a flower.
It really does. I thought it was a Scentsy whenever I saw the good one. I'm not even lying to you. I thought it was a Scentsy, and then I went, wait a minute, why is everyone laughing at this? But, what I think is so important, though, is, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you look like, there's something that everyone particularly needs. And
exactly right.
When they go into your store, how important is it for us as consumers to kind of dispel with maybe some of the thoughts that come into our mind, and maybe some of the items that kind of hit us when we walk in, and realize that we can talk with you about what would be maybe the best for ourselves in that situation?
I think what we come across the most is, well, my friend said I should do
That's
this.
what I was getting at. Okay.
And the problem with that is that your friend might have different needs than you, and so your expectations are of whatever whatever experience she had. And so when you come in and you're like, oh, I have to have this product, my friend said it's the greatest. Well, that's leads into a conversation of, what do you like? You know what I mean? And what we find is that not a lot of people know what they like.
That's what I was wanting to ask you about.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's our goal with that product knowledge to help inform and educate our guest on what they might even consider to like. And it's not always, we're not going to always get it right. Trial and error is a thing here.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, we have to try something in order to figure out if we like it.
Well, and let me ask you this, because you would know better than, me for sure, better than most people. Whenever you find that individual that maybe walks into the store the first time, that maybe has some issues going on, they can't, they aren't reaching where their fullest potential, hindsight being 20/20, they walk in and they find out that there is a product for them. Can you see it on their face the next time when they come in, like the stress kind of going on,
Yes.
in the most appropriate way possible? I mean, that's what I would see, is just maybe their demeanor changing a bit.
That's actually my most rewarding part of our job. That product knowledge follow through with a happy customer. It changes their outlook of the world and their inward look of themselves. So yes, it's definitely fulfilling, and their overall attitude changes on where they are. And even if it's a product that wasn't the best for them, I see a lot of people that come in and go, okay, that didn't quite work, but I have an idea, so can we try this?
Yeah.
And then we kind of direct them with that. And I totally enjoy those kind of conversations, because it's unfortunate whenever you get the people that don't come back and they didn't like what they wanted, and you never hear from them again, and you just kind of, maybe get lost between the cracks on that, because they didn't have the experience they expected.
How important is it for folks to talk about their sexual interests and things whenever, because, you hit on something that was very important, and it's one that, it's a topic we don't discuss a lot on the show, but it's still one that needs to be discussed, because, so many times, you just said it yourself, they don't know what they need. They don't know what works for them. They don't know what they like. They don't know really anything when they come in the first time. Whenever they have that conversation, they start to explore themselves a little bit. Have you seen some benefit on that side of it too?
Well, for sure. Whenever we are able to identify what we like, whether we're in a relationship or not, we're then able to use that information to better our lives, and our sexual health goes line in line with our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, So whenever we're thinking of these things, it's like, for me, I think of it as like a balance between those. And being able to have those conversations where we weren't taught before, like we've had that like one class in high school where they just taught us how to get not pregnant. We've never been taught how to enjoy sex. So knowing that that's okay, that you're seeking that, is really important to people.
What is take me through, and I can only imagine that you've encountered all walks of life that walk into ROMANTIX, and it's not really a certain age demographic that's going in. Is that true?
That is very true. I see people from 18 to close to 100. I'm not even kidding. Like,
what?
Oh,
hell yes. Okay.
I get so excited.
No.
I get so excited. The other night, this guy was so excited. 79 years old. His wife was 59 years old, and they came in. They bought their first rose, and I was so excited for them. And they were just. They were excited. They were giddy, and I was like, I just hope that I have the same life force in me at this age that you guys currently have.
But think about that though for the folks at home, because as as kind of a cute of a story as it is, it's very important, because who knows, that could have been causing years upon years of frustration, or even months upon months of frustration, and just to kind of be able to find something that works for both parties and helps their relationship, I mean, that's a good thing.
It is, and some couples have struggles with adding toys into their lives for various reasons, and so we're there to help kind of manage that as best we can. We also have the ability to talk about these things in a way that makes everyone comfortable. And like I said, that's the most important part. So whenever it comes to couples, it's not always necessarily a need for an adult toy or a product, but it's just, let's just try this. Especially in the winter months, we see so many more people because they're trying to get things spiced up. Yeah. In the summer, people are on the go, and they're they have their children at home, so they don't have as much alone time. And so when they do, they're just like, let's do this. We don't have the time that we typically might have. So it's just one of those things that it's per individual, but the uniqueness, the diversity of it, like you said, with the age, just everything is a learning curve all on its own. And we absolutely love that our company teaches us how to manage that and how to help people in a successful way.
Now, what I think is really unique about and I'll be honest with you, Nikki, I've never once walked into Sam and Delilah's or ROMANTIX. I've never gone to a type of store like that, but whenever, you're talking to me about, just the NDAs and just that closure of knowing, hey, this is a safe spot, and knowing that you're getting, constant education because you guys are all getting constantly educated with your continuing ed, it's a safe spot, because there's some places I'm sure that have given a bad rap to the industry. But when you have a ROMANTIX, I mean, that's really what your service is for.
It definitely is. And if you ever get a chance to come in, you'll see what we're talking about. We have a lot of misconceptions out there about like dirty bookstores or what the place might feel or look like. Yeah. And coming from the adult industry for most of my life, this sets us apart from others as well. It's like I said, everything from the way it looks, the way it smells, the way it feels, the way it's set up is to invite you. And our line was also very aimed towards women, because we wanted to, it's women, couples, men, but we really wanted women to feel comfortable going into an adult store alone and not feeling like they were pressured by anybody or uneasy feeling, being in an environment like that. And we've succeeded with that. You
definitely have, because safety and security, is a big thing for so many people. I'm telling you, Nikki, I'm getting ready to. I don't have the money, but I'm going to find my mega millionaire like so many else have, and I'm going to create a new Las Vegas with no cell phones. You can only call out with a landline, and you can just have fun. Because everyone's so nervous about, oh my gosh, they saw me here, or what happens if they video here, or what. But when you go into Sam or ROMANTIX, you're just going to talk to somebody that's here to help you. And that's what I think is so important, because there's always that paranoia that comes in, not for everybody, but for some with that. And to know that they're safe is a huge, huge incentive.
I agree. One of my other favorite parts about our company is that we're 100% employee owned. We're an ESOP company, so we are all how do you say, owners? We have ownership interest in the company in the form of shares and stocks. So it's important to us that we are all successful individually, because it greatly affects us as a whole. So we have the ability and the responsibility to create what we need to for our community, and I feel like we success in that. So
what are your hours at ROMANTIX? When are you open?
So currently we're 12 to 10 through Sunday through Thursday, and 12 to 12 Saturday or Friday and Saturday. Going into August, I think we might reduce on that back end hour. It's not been confirmed yet, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. We had increased it here over the last few months, but we haven't really noticed a difference in people coming in during that time.
Now, do you have social medias? Do they allow you guys to have social media?
So they have a ROMANTIX. It's a
like
page.
A global.
So Denver. It's our home office is based in Denver, so somebody out there, help manages that. But I did recently start my own page. It's called RiverBend Sexual Wellness Guide. And there I'm just kind of talking on different topics, not directed towards anyone individually, just a wide range of topics, and you take what you need and leave what you want. I have a Facebook page. We're also going to be...
let's talk about that in a second. Okay. But just for Sam or for ROMANTIX again, what are the hours, and just one last time, just so we get it.
So 12 to 10 Sunday through Thursday, and 12 to 12 Friday and Saturday currently. And the address is 1320 East Broadway.
Really cool. And now I saw that you started this RiverBend Sexual Wellness page. And now, what was the reason behind this?
I think I just wanted to reach out more. So I've been working with Soul Sanctuary and doing like the healthy relationship class that we came in and talked with Sundog Alchemy and Soul Sanctuary. Well, that kind of segued into my own kind of thing with sexual wellness. I have done consent classes over the years, and I really enjoy those, and I'm just trying to grow from there. And so I needed kind of a platform to discuss these things to kind of move in that direction. So at the Milton Schoolhouse on July 14th, we'll actually have our first discussion with RiverBend Sexual Wellness. We're going to talk about consent, sexual wellness, just like basics, and some sexual aftercare. Soul Sanctuary will also be there to hold a guided meditation as well, so we're excited for that. But that's July 14th at 2 p.m.
Now, who's invited to this? Who can come?
Anybody over 18.
Okay.
So anything that I do has to be 18 and older. It's considered grooming.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I would love for someone out there to be able to teach our younger folks, because I see the need for that.
Yeah.
I just legally can't.
Yeah, and you know, there's been a whole, especially with sexual education and even the DARE program, a lot of those things that we grew up with maybe weren't, you know, they were components that were probably needed but not taught the right way. And you're absolutely right. If there's an updated sex ed course that could be taught in school, I think it would go a lot further, because I mean, you can speak from your experience. I'm just assuming, you know, don't want to get myself in trouble, but a lot of issues are caused because of the unknown.
Yep.
You know, and you can get yourself into a lot of trouble that way. And whenever you can feel comfortable talking about these things, and I'm not saying go post on your Facebook your body count or anything like that crazy, but when you can feel safe, you know, in a community setting, or even in just with your friends and family chatting about something like that, even though it's a little bit more serious or could be a little bit more of a different conversation, you're at least helping yourself. You aren't sitting there by yourself going, oh my goodness, what happens here and what happens there, and all the paranoia and things that it causes. I mean, it's a very important tool.
Well, it actually creates sexual trauma.
Yeah.
And it's something that takes a lot of time to get over, like things that we've gone through in our life when we didn't know better. It creates the guilt and shame around sex that we take into adulthood. So again, I'm very passionate about it. I just don't have the ability to do what's needed to be done in this position. Yeah. So, but I do hope that one day it is available.
Well, and now, how long is this going to go again up at Milton Schoolhouse on the 14th?
2 to 4 p.m.
And you're going to be discussing consent,
sexual wellness, just like an overall basic. Since it's the first one, I'm not going to target anything real specific. And then after that, this sexual aftercare, which is just kind of taking care of yourself, you know, or in a couples setting, making sure everybody's good afterwards, you know, not just ending and then going our separate ways kind of thing.
That makes sense. Don't just pick the hat up and walk out the door, huh? Well, and honestly, Nikki, it's very much a needed service, because the more you can talk about these things that people kind of cringe at, and not really cringe, but just kind of look the other way and try to ignore it, that's where I think it leads to so many things, just like drugs. You know, I think so many people were scared to kind of talk about things, so they didn't want people to do them, and now here we are in an opioid epidemic that's the worst that we've ever seen, and it keeps getting worse every year. And, you know, just like that with sexual wellness, I mean, if you can't feel comfortable talking about something and you're on an island by yourself, you could be causing more harm than good for the greater community, too.
I definitely agree.
And now, how long have you been in the adult industry?
So I started in the adult industry in the year 2000. I had my son in 2003, so I had a lull there for some time. But then, like I said, I started back up in 2014 with Johnny Vegas. And I've been in the adult industry again ever since. So 10 years, and I absolutely love what I do. And
how do people get connected with you on RiverBend Sexual Wellness? And can they ask you questions? Can they talk to you about things?
They can. It is sometimes one of those things where you can't tell who's serious and who's not.
I bet.
So if it comes to situation like that, I do sometimes just say, hey, just come on by the store. Yeah. You know, if you're local especially, because that's the setting where I'm comfortable in. Yeah. And we can have a lot more of a one-on-one discussion in that way. In the actual Facebook page, it's a lot, like I said, a lot of just information about a lot of different topics, whether you are celibate, whether you are a solo individual, whether no matter your gender, no matter your identity, or your sexual preferences. So it's just for anybody that needs it, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. Well, I just think it's great. And honestly, Nikki, whenever you called me, I felt so bad because she was supposed to come on Tuesday. It shows you how it's just been crazy lately. But
I wanted to have this conversation because the more we can talk about things that, aren't necessarily, this isn't illegal at all, but, just to talk about things that maybe some folks treat as, illegal sometimes.
They call it taboo.
Yeah,
is what their feelings are. But I see that a lot of generations are moving past it.
They are.
We're ready.
Yeah.
It's no longer just sex, it's sexual wellness. And it makes a new turn on it. It makes people feel like it's a part of their body, which it very much is. It's very much a part of our whole entire system of happiness, of balance, of just all around well-being.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming down today. And it takes a lot of trust to go on a talk show, seriously, and talk about, because you never know how hosts are, and I really appreciate your trust. And I appreciate all that you're doing with this, too. So we'll take a quick break. We'll link everything in an article on RiverBender.com. The time's 10:54, and I come back and wrap up the damn week that it was right after this.